Scream 2, 1997.
I wasn't really falling for the Derek propaganda. I never really thought it was him.
Is trying to like bait her to get out in the open for easy attacks.
Rocky Horror Picture Show on Academy.
You're forgetting one thing about Billy Loomis. Yeah, what's that? I fucking killed him.
Hey everybody, Jimmy with the Triple C Collective here, and I'm really excited to bring you our new series. This is called Sibling Scream.
It's showtime for Siblings Scream, Scream 2, 1997. I am so excited. Back with me again is brother Eddie. Eddie, say hi.
Hi everyone.
Our sisters in cinema, Becky and Jodi. Becky, say hi.
Hello.
Jodi.
Hi.
And we are back to talk about the wonderful sequel, Scream 2 from 1997. This is our second episode of this series, and I'm really excited to dive in. So, Scream 2 released 357 days after the original.
That's wild.
Right? Because if you watch any of the behind the scenes or you read the book that I've been reading, it all started with a Scream by Patrick Maroney. It's a great book, but they're like, the movie was in theaters in Memorial Day of 1997, and they started pre-production at like the end of April, beginning of May. So that's like insane. And like the first movie had legs. Like it was in theaters for 6 months. This movie also went through like production hell for how quickly they got it out. Let's talk about some of the leaks here. Back then, Becky, Jodi, do you guys remember like were you tabbed into like even as what Jada Pinkett says?
I read my Entertainment Weekly, okay? I know my shit.
That, or is it just like I see a trailer at the theater and I know it's coming?
We were so young. Yeah.
We were young. And we didn't have like the resources we have today, right? So I can confidently say I had no idea about these leaks.
Right?
I didn't know. I had no idea. And I'm actually really excited to talk about the changes they had to make because of the leaks, because that's new information to me.
Right? Now, Eddie, you came to Scream later. Did I talk to you about these leaks? Did you look up this stuff even when you were individually going through these movies a couple of years ago?
I had no idea really that they were leaks. I feel like I had heard about it, but no, I didn't look into it much.
I mean, it's just crazy because like to this day, that's why Christopher Nolan makes his scripts the way he does. Red paper, black ink, you can't photocopy it. So literally the only way you can do it is have that paper in the printer already and just print out copies like that. But it was crazy. It was like the first 30 to 40 pages that were released for it. And there was like the original outline that Kevin Williamson turned in with his Scream 1 script. I put in the notes some of the changes that they had. Jodi, what are some of the changes that they taught that I put in there or that you found out about yourself, like checking out on other things that were just like shocking to you or like, I can't believe this was like almost happened?
The original killers. I had no idea. I think that's very surprising. I'm very curious. Like, do you know what or should I say who it was? I don't know. Do you want to reveal?
Yeah, say it. Spoilers.
So,
spoilers
for a movie that came out however many years ago. Hallie and Derek were the original killers. So Sydney's roommate and boyfriend. And I'm really surprised, one, after Billy being the character or the killer in season 1, but do we know what their motive was? Do we have that information?
So the only motive that like I was able to find out, spoilers for the end of this Scream 2, is that Salt is still pulling the strings.
Right.
So it's like what manipulation, what blackmail or whatever she may have on them, it wasn't discussed enough in any of the special features or even like the commentary track to it. Like they kind of didn't talk about it. They were just like, oh yeah, this almost happened and like this almost happened. But yeah, the Derek and Hallie, boyfriend, roommate. Becky, what do you think?
I absolutely hate that. I genuinely would have been upset if it was the boyfriend again. I think it was done. They had the shock value in the first one, and the second one it's just been I could see where they're like, oh, well, no one will ever think it's Derek since it was Billy the first time around. But even Hallie wasn't even that big of a character. So I guess maybe she was a bigger character in the original script.
Well,
I
Mickey's not that
don't
big
know.
of a character either.
You're
Yeah.
right, but I love this spin about Mickey being like a theater student. So he's like the new.
He's a film student. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yes, film student. Sorry, not
He's
theater.
always carrying the camera around.
And
Yeah.
he's like the creepy guy in the online chat rooms, and that's how he finds the mom. So maybe that's the spin they had with Hallie and Derek from the original script. Well, I guess we'll never know.
Right.
But Mickey's one of my favorite characters, so I'm really, I mean, obviously hindsight is 2020,
Yeah.
but he's one of my favorite characters. So I would have been upset if he wasn't in the film.
Same.
Absolutely. Eddie, how about yourself?
Yeah, no, I would not have been pleased if it was Derek and Hallie. Doesn't Randy even say at some point he was like it was the boyfriend last time or someone said
Well,
I feel
He
like
said
mean,
it's tired. Yeah.
yeah,
said
yeah,
the
exactly. It
boyfriend
is
is
tight. That's
tired.
how I would have felt.
But he also gives credence to Hallie being the killer. You
Yeah.
know, it's against the rules, but not really. She's Candyman's daughter. She's sweet. She's deadly. She's bad for your teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for reasons like that, like they even talk about it there, and I think that's part of the reason, like even maybe why that's in that Randy scene, is to have people even be like, oh my God, could it really even be her? Because because to be fair, that whole movie, she's like, you got to get out of your shell, Sid. You got to get out there. You got to be seen. You got to talk with people. You got to interact, which if you look at it through a certain lens is trying to bait her to get out in the open for easy attacks.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. And it's always got to be someone that's close with her. Even though they just met in college, she has like access into some of her personal life. So that would have made a little bit of sense.
Right? I mean,
And it would
Hallie
have been
even-
more emotional damage too.
Yeah.
Like
Emotional damage.
continue to do that. And I wonder if they kind of re-scrapped some of this for the eventual killer reveal in the third movie. Like the idea of someone else pulling the strings is
Right.
what happens in the third movie. So maybe they reused it later on.
Yeah, I think we've hit it mainly all. Other than like Kevin Williamson was late, they kept talking about it for his script. And it's like the dude was working on his pilot for Dawson's Creek and stuff like he was busy. The other
And when does I Know What You Did Last Summer come out amidst all of this? Do we know the date?
I think I Know What You Did Last Summer is
Oh.
1998.
Okay, because we saw
97.
the new one last night, and the podcast girl says that it happens in 1997.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
yeah?
released in 97. I was just
Okay.
curious, like, what the, like, is that another reason? Did Scream, the first one, create this, like, new era of slashers and they're, like, rushing to keep up? Sounds like you have some information on that.
Well, because after Scream 1, Kevin Williamson signs a $20 million exclusive deal with Miramax Dimension and like the Weinsteins and stuff. So actually, I think he writes Scream 1, writes I Know What You Did Last Summer, gets Dawson's Creek, and then because it's May of the next year, they're like, yo, dog, we need that Scream 2 script. Let's go, buddy. We need it. Then, like, Wes Craven's old assistant, Jessica Plack, goes down there, like, helps co-write the entire script with it. After the leaks, Williamson and Plack were like, this is the greatest mistake to ever happen. And people are like, why? They were like, the fucking third act sucked. And we wanted to rewrite it anyhow. So, like, that's even giving more credence to it. It's like, oh, yeah, all these leaks happened. But they were like, yeah, we weren't really happy. We were kind of under the gun. This gave us a little bit of extra time to, like, tweak some things. And specifically things with, like, the car crash and then the theater productions all kind of got changed and kind of reworked and what through it.
Those are two great scenes, so it sounds like they benefited from it.
Yeah, right? You know, sometimes a rewrite's okay. Other random facts, they had random encounters with Roger Jackson, who's the Ghostface voice. David Arquette and Courtney Cox, production put them into all the same car. When Wes Craven said, I have one rule. Nobody in the cast can be with this guy ever because I want them to not know what he looks like so that they can be afraid. The dude would go to the premieres, be in a balcony away from everybody else. So like nobody would ever see him And I think that happened all the way through, like, up until, like, Scream 5 or 6. I'm pretty sure, like, almost none of the cast, like, really met him face to face until, way later now. Jamie Kennedy ran into him doing laundry in their laundry room at the hotel, which is
Oh,
just,
wow.
like, talk about random encounters with a serial killer or, like, the voice of one. I'm just doing laundry.
Yeah. Gotta do laundry too.
So that's our little bit of our overview before we dive in. Plot of the movie, favorite characters, favorite kill. Will kind of these things all kind of go together. The opening of the movie, Omar Epps, Jada Pinkett Smith. What about this? Jodi? What do you got?
It's so good. Obviously, we're continuing from the first one where we're getting a big name, two big names in the beginning. So maybe we anticipate at this point what's going to happen, but it just continues I guess only through 4 do they do this, right? They kind of shake it up in 5 with the opens. But I think it's so good. I still quote it. It's like scary, and I don't know. It's similar to the first one where Casey gets so close to her mom and she still dies. Like Jada Pinkett literally gets murdered in front of all of these. There's you make it that close and still there's no hope, and it's so good. 5 stars for me.
They even show like a couple of reactions of like blood going on people's arms, and like you just see somebody being like, "What is this?"
And the bathroom scene.
Yeah.
Bathroom scene is gnarly.
Bathroom scene is kind of ridiculous and funny, and
so ridiculous, but so great.
yeah.
Right? I mean,
but
like
it works. I don't know. For some reason, I'm biased, but like things that are so unbelievable work in the Scream films. But then when I see them in new films, I'm like, ugh, that would never happen. That's not real. That's not possible.
You're like so defensive of Scream. You're like, just watch the movie.
Watch
it happen.
That whole sequence, it's so funny because Wes Craven talks about this sequence with Jada Pinkett and being like, like the first like 10 to 15 minutes of like a horror film usually kind of sets the tone. Like you get a little introduction to characters, you get a big bam, and then there could be a time jump, and then people are dealing with the rest of it. Obviously, Scream, it's the opening murder sequences are like so iconic and so fun. I think it's Scream 4 where they do literally the 18 stabs or something. Spoilers for that. We'll get to that later, but that is literally one of the funniest things in the world.
It's so wacky, but so good.
It really is. It's great. So the one thing about this sequence, other than Jada Pinkett and Omar Epps, I like on how they're talking about race, but then they're also the first victims of the movie as well. It's one of the things about Joel and that character that's really funny because he told Wes Craven, he's like, I'm a young black man. Like, I would like to survive a horror movie. I would like to survive the horror film. And Wes is like, okay, well, how would you do it? And he was like, bro, people are dying around me. I'm out. Like, I'm just leaving. And then Wes Craven's like, okay, well, how would you leave? And he's like, in a cab. And then Wes Craven just like yells to his set designer, can I get a cab? Literally in that scene when Joe walks away, he walks away and gets into a cab. When he's like, Gail, I'm out. And the cab driver is actually wearing a neck brace too. It's like, why is he wearing a neck brace? No idea. That dude is never seen again. But like Joel comes back. Why the cab driver is just wearing a neck brace? I don't know. But this whole movie, and again, the opening with them and even with Joel's character, like it's all the meta-ness and like the commentary on like the movie and the things that we're seeing already. Like these movies are very smart if you really kind of sit there for a second and just like get almost over the shocking, like, holy shit, Omar Epps gets stabbed through a stall wall in the ear.
Sure does.
I also love Jada's reaction of when she's like, oh, it's coming. And then she's like, what? All the blood on her hands from like the leather jacket and stuff. Whatever recent incidents with like her and her family, like leave that aside. she's really good in this opening.
Oh yeah.
Like that whole like getting up and the terrified look going down the aisle and then just like
Final
Her big
is iconic,
scream.
too.
Yeah.
Yes, that scream.
It's like
Or it's like a wail.
it's like a it's like a desperate yelp.
Mhm.
He's like literally dying in front of
300 people.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I love how ridiculous everyone's acting in the theater the entire time too, like running around and like chasing each other, and like it is just so fun. I've never, well, I can't even think of how many premieres I guess I've been to, but I've never experienced anything where people are just screaming and running around a theater.
Like Rocky Horror Picture Show on ketamine. Like it was
Yeah.
it's insane.
The only thing I've ever experienced that was close to that is when the absolute gem Snakes on a Plane
No.
with Samuel L. Jackson came out.
I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
One of our friends brought one of the carnival snakes there. It was like being tossed around the whole movie because that movie is ridiculous. But by the end, that snake got like ripped in half, like and so like it was just being tossed all over the place because we were assholes. We were bad people. Not really bad, but we were assholes.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Mischievous.
but it's also like 20-ish, 23-ish years ago. Maybe.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll be fine. One last thing. The woman who hands Jada Pinkett Smith and Omar Epps the like Ghostface masks and stuff, she won that role via an MTV contest.
Oh, that's
And
very
just-
cool.
And just because like MTV isn't like what MTV used to be like when we were growing up with like music videos and TRL and stuff, I was just like, that's so cool. I would love that.
They should bring that back.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Kids
I
these
love
days
YouTube
will
too.
never know.
Everything's always evolving. So what do you guys think about this 2-year jump that we get here with Sydney, Randy, them all being in college? Obviously, we don't see Dewey right away. There's the movie within the movie of Stab based off of Gail Weathers' book, which is awesome. You see Heather Graham, and I love the later scenes of that is like too perfect with Luke Wilson and stuff. And like we'll leave the other character. If
The
you've
Luke
seen
Wilson scene is so funny.
it's
so
great, but
fun.
we're not going to talk about the other character, the other actress that's in that scene yet because it's too funny. We'll wait until we get to that. The 2-year jump. Did that bother you? Does that, or were you like, oh man, what was going on? Like, Becky, to be fair, you talked about it. Like, they don't talk about Tatum's death. Like, in this movie, they don't talk about any of that kind of like trauma recovery, even. But like, they don't even talk about that kind of stuff. And like, if I'm being honest, that's the one thing that you told me, Becky, about this franchise that I was like, holy shit, you're absolutely right. Like, Tatum dies in the first one, and then it's just like, all right, bye. Nobody talks about it. Tell us more.
I think that's actually a really good point. I never really went into, at least from what I can remember, going into Scream 2 being pissed that they did not acknowledge the victims from the first one. That
Right?
sounds really bad. But I guess since it was such a time jump, and I think now as like a 36-year-old woman, I'm like, but they went through so much trauma. How is this? But like back then, I probably was like, just give
And
me
it's also not the movie. It's not
Right. That's
it's
fair.
not what we're setting out to do. And I'm a therapist, so for me to be like, like we don't it never occurred to me till same as Becky, till you brought it up just now. Like I think the time jump makes sense, and I think they reference what happened enough times, especially like Randy. Like I think they reference in general like why they had to get away and stick together, and I don't know that it
a little bit. Like
they do, yeah.
Like Randy shows his scar and he's like,
and pain. Yeah. Obviously we know Dewey is all cut up. He's got his limp in the second movie from his injuries. I don't know how they would have worked it in without making that a whole plot point.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's fair. In a sequel, you're expanding other characters, you're adding new ones, you're keeping a little bit. Like at some point, again, to add like the backstory of probably that trauma stuff, that would make this an 8-episode miniseries. And I don't want any part of that. I love Scream. I've never actually watched that Scream TV series, oddly enough, that was on MTV.
It's unrelated. It's
Yeah.
unrelated. It's fine.
So like I never got around to that. So yeah, no. I love keep these movies at the 2 hours that they are. Perfect. They're wonderful run times. So we also get Dewey coming back. We get David Arquette. You know, Gale Weathers, Courtney Cox coming back. Of some of these returning characters, Eddie, time jump. Did that bother you at all, or you're just like, it's a movie?
Yeah, no, the time jump was fine for me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if they were still in high school, it would have also been fine. But I kind of liked a little bit of a change of setting, I think.
I agree.
So,
That's almost why one of those things where like I just asked the question because I don't know, like you asked me that, Becky, and it just like burrowed into me, and I was like, oh man, I got to think about this now. Like, does that bother me? Does that not? If they stayed in Woodsboro and we're still in high school, I think that would bother me if they weren't talking about it then,
Totally.
like because that's just too close in proximity. But
yeah.
the years and then a totally new location. They filmed in Atlanta, Georgia, but like I don't even think they give a true thing. They're
Yeah.
just like we're in college
Yeah.
now, and
I mean,
like
Dewey and Gale get there very easily, but I mean, there's time jumps, so it's like they could have easily flown. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, this is what happens when you watch a movie so much, and I ask you to do a podcast because we go through a movie and we ask about time jumps in in the timeline when like it's just like, does this make sense? How does this work? And this is why I invited you all
It did
on
it
here.
very seamlessly. It didn't have like a cheesy like
Yeah, I agree.
years later, like
Yeah.
And
it
they
was-
killed off a bunch of characters. We needed
yeah,
a
we needed
natural way
fresh
to
faces.
include
Yeah.
new characters. Because
Right?
at this
And-
point, like we now know, like Sydney has been through it for like ever. At this point, they had every reason to believe this was one isolated incident and a really bad, horrible thing, and they're trying to get away and move on. And even Sydney's like she doesn't want to, but she's going to like the sorority party. Like they're entertaining the idea of moving on, and so it felt kind of natural to me.
I absolutely don't disagree. I do, as like we're talking more and more, it's like, no, this all makes sense if you kind of think about it or like kind of break it down a little bit here. What about Dewey and Gale reuniting for the first time after Gale just actually, Gale throwing the microphone and Cotton Weary straight into Sid's face, basically. What about Dewey and Gale there? Because like, again, it's kind of reflecting Courtney Cox and David Arquette's real life because they were really dating at this point now from like meeting on Scream 1 and everything. Dewey later says he's rude, and I was just like, Gale's kind of pushing some buttons here.
I mean, her character.
She is a little pushy. She will get what she wants.
Yeah. I love the scenes with Gale and Dewey just simply because of the background music. It's like this like sultry, like
It is.
It's like it's so funny. And this is when she introduced her like red highlights. And I was just like, I remember then being like, oh my God, now I need like red streaks in my hair. Which are
We always had the new do in every movie.
Yeah.
Right? One of the best things is Dewey walks off screen and he's like, oh, one more thing. Nice streaks. And then he just like slides off again. Like
it's just so easy in the best way.
There's one scene later, and gosh, I'm upset I can't remember exactly what it is, where Dewey's just walking through it and he's the only one on camera, and it's just like almost like Western music. Like he's like cowboy, some like badass cowboy or something. I'm like, yeah, this is funny. As he's limping through the screen.
He does get that. That's their banter's just really funny. And it continues throughout the movie. Like they get like the cheesy, like they either get the sultry music or they're just almost like slapstick, but they're just so derpy together. Like when they're trying to solve something and Sydney's handling it, and they're like trying to help and they're off somewhere. You just hear them. It's just funny.
It's so good. One scene that I did forget that I wanted to talk about before the Dewey and Gale stuff is the film class. Like, how did I forget to talk about this first? So the film class scene, what we get in the movie is the reshot scene. They originally shot it at that where they shot that at Windsor College in like Atlanta, or I forget the name of the real college, but what in the movie is Windsor College. They shoot in that like one of those huge auditorium, like 1,000-seater kind of things. And it looks really weird, if I'm being honest, because it's like literally 7 people and a professor. And there's like huge space all around them. But that was before they cast Sarah Michelle Gellar in her role that they got.
Oh,
So
Omega Beta Zeta.
when they go back to LA to finish like stuff in LA, the car crash and stuff outside, that's where Sarah is. So they reshoot that film scene to what we get there. Joshua Jackson is in both of them because he was already cast in all of that. And like Timothy Oliphant is in it, and obviously Jamie Kennedy. But the biggest change is that like Wes was like, damn, we need to reshoot this scene. And everybody was like, what's wrong with the other one? He's like, we need to introduce Sarah Michelle Gellar before Sorority Row. Like, she's Buffy at this time, and Buffy's a huge hit. Another way to draw people in is like obviously having Sarah Michelle Gellar on there, and then her backing it up with her appearance in I Know What You Did Last Summer during
Her
like the same time
starring role
here.
as Helen Shivers. Put some
Right?
respect on that name.
It's been so long since I've watched those movies, but
Watch. They take place over 4th of July. It's seasonally appropriate.
oh my gosh, yes.
We saw the new one last night, me and Becky.
I know that. I'm so jealous. I haven't seen it yet. But the film class and talking about sequels and like, Randy just being like, by definition alone, sequels suck. One of my favorite lines is from Sarah Michelle Gellar in this scene, and she's like, you got a hard on for Cameron. And Randy's like, yeah, Ridley Scott rules. It's like some of my, because like, I don't hate aliens, but I like horror and sci-fi more. So I've always liked Alien more than Aliens. But I do like Terminator 2 more than I like Terminator.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Agreed. Terminator 2 is better.
Like Terminator, I don't disagree with the guy in the class being like, it's a classic, like it was revolutionary, all true stuff. But like, it's just like, it take it up another notch.
Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
The line is stay away from her, you bitch. This is film class.
Film class, right? So good. And actually, then we also get Randy walking with Sydney, right? And meeting Derek. Randy doing that voice, that British voice. It was like one of their like production designers or something on set. He was just doing it to like razz him or whatever. But then Wes found it funny. So he's like, keep doing the accent. Like, that's why he's talking in like a British accent. He did one take just like kind of being funny, and everybody else was giggling at it.
It worked.
It's Randy, and it worked for the scene too, because he's trying to be like cool, calm, and collected around Sydney, and he's being a nerd, and I love it.
And he's got that sixth sense about Derek too. He's just like locked on with Sydney, talking with her, and then out of nowhere he's like, "Oh, hi, Derek."
Yeah,
he's got like he's got a spider
in a
sense.
creepy manner, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
He like jumps from the side, so you're like, the first introduction of Derek is like creepily like hopping into their conversation.
That's how we meet Billy too. In the first one, he appears in the window.
Yeah.
He just pops out. It's like poetry. It rhymes, as George Lucas says. But Sorority Row. I was listening to the commentary track, and if you watch this whole scene interior of like Sarah Michelle Gellar and like all of the phone calls and stuff, it's almost all done by Steadicam. So like people just like holding the camera and like trying to move and stuff like that. And Wes Craven was like, man, I was having a lot of fun with Steadicams with this, because they did this commentary track like years later in like 2011 for this movie. So he was like, man, I must have just, it had to have been the budget. We just had to have so many Steadicams that I was just like, let's play around with it. But it works. It's well shot, and it's like really creepy, ominous thing following you.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously it's Ghostface, or it's like meant to give you that feeling. Also very reminiscent of Drew Barrymore's opening. We get like, that's a little bit more like establishing shots, a little less Steadicam. But this has that movement of going around, and it kind of gives you that chaotic feeling of like, college in general. Like, you know, you're always kind of going. I was never a part of a frat or something, but I can only imagine you got a bunch of stuff to do with those things too as well. Sorority Row. Jodi, what do you got?
me and Becky were just obsessed. We wanted to find a phone that looked like Sarah Michelle Gellar's phone, and you could not find it anywhere. Like the Omega Beta, it had a specific look and sound to it, if that makes sense. It was so creepy. It was so cool. It was a bummer when she died, but it's a decent enough chase scene. But again, it's like the other sorority sister comes in and she's so close to being safe, and then she's not. So that part, I love that kill, even though it's a bummer to see Sarah Michelle Gellar go. The party, I think I don't know, I think it's fun. I know that there's information out there that Matthew Lillard is in the background of one of the scenes at the frat party, I think.
Yeah, when Sydney and Hallie first walk up to Portia de Rossi and Rebecca Gayheart,
Yeah.
if you look in the back left side of Portia de Rossi, I swear to God, that you see Matthew Lillard with his bleach blonde hair at the time, and Matthew Lillard is on set because him and Nev Campbell were dating. They met on Scream. They met on Scream 1, and then they started dating after Scream. And obviously, he wasn't he's not involved in Scream 2.
No, he's not meant to be Stu. He just is a background.
Yeah, he's Matthew Lillard talks about it the first time that like a fan saw it. He's like, "You're in Scream 2," and he's like, "No, I'm in Scream." And he's like, "No, you're in the background of Scream 2." And he's like, "You have too much time on your hands."
FOMO, and like was sad that he couldn't be a part of the second one, because I know I would, but his character was iconic and he got what he got.
Yeah.
But that's so funny. I loved the party scene just because those sorority girls are some of my favorite scenes. Like Portia de Rossi is like, sit there. She's like trying to get her to join the sorority, and Sydney's just like not having it. But I'm just going to talk about it again. The fashion in this movie is some of the best as well. Like, I know R.I.P. Tatum, but the clothes that the girls are wearing. And I know I shouldn't be talking about the clothes on women actresses, but whatever, 90s. And
no, it was, I think it was perfect.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, all the correlations, like, because then you have Rebecca Gayheart, who goes on to do Urban Legend.
Yes.
And, you know, you've got Sarah Michelle Gellar, who of course is Buffy, and then goes on to do I Know What You Did. It's like this, I don't know, cool, like, cast of characters who were very relevant at the time that it was filmed. Like, it was a big deal to see these faces because they were all working in other things. And it just continued from the first movie where it was like faces you recognized. And
yeah. Eddie, what about you? Sorority Row?
For me, the party scene was like fine. Like that. Like I don't. It didn't do much for me, but it was all right.
Keg stands mean nothing to you?
Yeah, it was it was cool. It was a little like entertaining. I always like the bouncing back between like scary and then like kind of relief from that. So that like I like that, but I really liked the Sarah Michelle Gellar scene. I did really like that.
One of the things that like I'm sort of like, did we have to do all this? Is the running up the stairs. I feel like we're in the stairs too long. But it's one
of my favorite scenes in the Scary Movie. Or is it Scary Movie 2? Where she like throws her grandma down the stairs.
Yeah. The stairs like never end. Long.
Yeah. It's too long. But there's always a stairs scene. Like Sydney's even running up her stairs in the first one. Is there a stair scene in the third one?
Well, and she, I'm not sure, but it goes back to, there's a lot of callbacks in like Sydney says in the first one, she's always running up the stairs instead of going out the front door. And like they're calling back to that, I assume. But yeah, just even like before, like you were mentioning before, following around with the steady cam, it's just establishing like we're very aware she's alone or not in this big creepy house. And like they're really making use of all the space, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. And that Omega Beta Zeta house, you guys have probably seen it before. It was in The Midnight House, which is a horror flick. Matilda, Hocus Pocus, Catch Me If You Can.
Oh.
And Matilda.
It is the interior of their house, I believe.
Is it Miss Trunchbull's house?
Maybe.
It's
I don't know.
Probably Trunchbull's house.
It could be. Because I like all I know is like what I saw is that it was like it's in these 4 movies. And obviously it's there, it will be designed the same, but like the look and aesthetic and like wallpapering, like they're gonna change that for each thing. So it's been a while since I've watched the original Matilda from the 90s.
Great.
I know didn't they just do a musical one, I think, on Netflix?
They
Wasn't
did
that
a couple years
series?
ago.
Yeah. So we get all the killings. Sarah Michelle Gellar, R.I.P.
See, I think another reason I like that one is because I like the phone calls. Like that
Yeah.
always creates a lot of suspense for me. Like I always find that creepy. When it's kind of just them like running around and stuff, like that's obviously creepy and stuff, but the phone calls is like I think the creepiest part of all of the movies.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it's like a cat playing with like a mouse or something. Like, you know, it's just like the big scary thing just being a puppet master.
Builds the anticipation. Yeah, it's good.
I love it.
And then it is a solid chase because sometimes he kind of gets in and gets it done. We don't get a ton of actual prolonged after the call and then the chase scene. I think he only really talks to Sydney because he calls Sydney right after that. Everyone's running out and then the phone rings and she gets the call. And she like has an attitude. She's like, I'm over that. Like, been there, done that. Just come after me. Yeah. Like,
right. And that's where we get like Ghostface saying, it's showtime.
Yeah.
When Sydney concretely knows this is happening again. It is not a random copycat from the movie theater. Like, they're coming after her. And that's when she really knows, like, here we go. We got a movie.
Then we get one of my favorite scenes. I know a lot of people may not like this scene, but it's one of my favorite ones. And it is I Think I Love You.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. No, that's a good scene.
Preparing. No, I love that scene.
Is there something between Sorority Row and I Think I Love You or were you thinking I was jumping to something further?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No.
We were just emotionally preparing for the big emotional hurt of this movie.
Oh yeah, that's fair. We're not quite there yet. You know, we're trying to build some tension here. Build it up for everybody.
Yeah. I think it's a fun scene.
It's
a really
great.
fun.
It's so fun. They didn't rehearse any of the dancing, so Jerry O'Connell is just, you know, living his best life up there. Jerry O'Connell is also singing in a different key in like every single take. If you notice, it's in different keys. So it always sounds kind of like different or like, and I don't know, maybe people might call it pitchy. I don't know. I'm like tone deaf like that. So like, I don't hear the difference in it. I'm just always like, he can sing better than I can. So like, I'd fall and like break my neck on one of those tables in the cafeteria. Like,
The fact that he is singing off key is what makes it so adorable, though, because she's like embarrassed, but he's making this grand gesture, like proving to her that, you know, he loves her and he wants to be with her despite some killer coming for her, and he knows what the risks are. And then we've got Mickey in the background, like,
who is just wild. He is so unhinged in this, and the clapping of his hands and stuff, and like always being like, hey, it is so funny. It was one of those things that I was like, you watch a movie like a million times, but then you're like, all right, let me look at it. Let me see what's going on in backgrounds, if I can see anything different. And I was just like, Timothy Olyphant, this is why who you are now, because like you're great. You're brilliant. The choices in that scene that he is making are hilarious. And that's why he gets so many cutaways in it. Because it's just like perfect to break it, give a chance to just have Jerry O'Connell loop singing like one little part of it. But I Think I Love You. Becky, Eddie, Jodi, anybody else?
I just think in general too, it's like he's the anti-Billy. Like Billy, even if he hadn't been the killer, he's like brooding and, you know, like more mysterious bad boy type. And this is like, you got Mr. Frat Boy who's not afraid to show his affection, and he's like the anti-Billy.
It's an interesting call. Anti-Billy is a great call and a great description for sure. But he really is. And then he's like pre-med and everything. Oh, I guess the only thing we missed about the Sorority Row stuff is the implication then that Derek might be one of the Ghostface killers because he gets the slice on his arm that happens to miss every vein and major artery. And I was like, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of veins, sure. Pretty sure there's only like one big artery in your arm it's like flowing blood or anything like that would be like bad. I wasn't
falling for that propaganda. I didn't think he was
that propaganda. I love it. So now we get the stab scene with Luke Wilson and Drum roll, please. Tori Spelling.
Fun callback.
It's so fun. I love that Tori Spelling was a good enough sport about it to realize that they weren't talking shit, that they were just making a fun. It's a fun joke. It's
Yeah.
just a fun joke. It's not trying to be mean or disparaging or anything. That's part of the reason is that they were like, well, let's call her and see if she will. And she was like, yeah, this is funny. This is
It'd be
awesome.
silly not to with how successful the first one was. But yeah, she was a good sport for sure.
One of the things that Lisa Beach said, the casting director of the entire Scream series, her favorite Scream movie to cast was the second one. Because after the success of the first one, everybody wanted to be a part of it. They didn't care if it was a lead role or a cameo. They just knew it'd be good for them to be a part of it. And so that's why Luke Wilson is in there as Billy. That's why they get Tori Spelling. Nancy O'Dell was actually a real life reporter out in Los Angeles. So she did real reporting. So that's even better, adding the realism and kind of being yeah, this is a movie, but it reflects real life in ways that you don't really think about. Having somebody who can actually report and just hold a single conversation like that, kind of tough. But anybody else? Stab scene, Luke Wilson, Tori Spelling, just great.
Just, yeah, perfect.
Iconic.
Bravo.
I mean, Luke Wilson and the hair in the face.
The hair is so.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And they changed the dialogue just a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's close enough. It's silly. It's fun.
Because it's a private moment between Sydney and Billy.
Another time we have to suspend disbelief, right? Like we were talking about earlier, Becky. I don't know, someone hurt. We just suspend disbelief that this was a private conversation. Sydney definitely didn't tell anybody about what was said, and we just sit and enjoy.
Right.
And
Well,
another scene where they made fun of it in Scary Movie. Does he say, "Is that the way the cookie crumbles" in Scream 2, or is that Scary Movie?
Scary Movie.
Oh, is it? I thought it was Scream 2.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles.
I don't remember it in.
It's
Oh, then maybe it's Scary Movie.
I don't remember. No,
I thought
because
he
in
said
Scream,
something more off base in Scary Movie.
In Scream 2 and in Scream 1, he's just yeah, Sid, sometimes moms just leave. And this is for that Tori Spelling. It really is almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes moms leave and she's well, my mom is buried in a cemetery. She just didn't abandon me. And then she runs off and he's stupid.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
sorry, I think
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go.
I was just saying, I think it's funny that of all the scenes they decide to show, they do that one where they mention Billy's mom leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the possible scenes they could have shown to preview the Stab movie within the movie.
Foreshadowing us?
Yeah.
According to Google, he does say that's the way the cookie crumbles.
In Scream 2?
I remember rewatching Scream 2 and thinking he said that in Scary Movie and then laughing out loud. So I was like, oh my God, he actually says it in Scream 2.
That's so awesome. I've watched this movie 7 times in the last week and a half, and I don't know how I didn't keep that with me. Again, one of my favorite scenes after the stab scene is Randy and his rules.
Yeah.
Except Randy gives us 2.5 rules.
Yeah.
Because rewatching it, he's yeah, Rule 3 sequel want to become a franchise. Never. And then he just trails off into a whole nother topic. He never finishes what Rule 3 is.
And number 3, if you want your sequel to become a franchise, never, ever.
How do we find the killer, Randy? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. And then they start listing off the possible suspects. And it's if I'm a suspect, then you're a suspect. Because we're both from Woodsboro. And what about Gail Weathers? Well, she's an opportunist. The only 2 rules that they talk about the sequel then that are truly established in here.
Number 1, the body count is always bigger.
Body count always bigger.
2, the death scenes are always much more elaborate.
The death scenes are always much more elaborate.
Number 3, never, ever, under any circumstances, assume the killer is dead.
And everyone is a suspect.
But that was something that I was oh yeah, we get another rule thing from Randy. Wait a second. We only get 2 rules. What happened here? I mean, like, again, anybody else? The scene, or Joel reading his book, which is the next one. Joel reading Gail's book for the first time.
He's like, I gotta get out of here. What did she say in the book that happened to the cameraman?
He gets gutted.
Yeah, he was like, oh, she was like, oh, he didn't really get gutted. And he's like, oh, what happened? She's like, his throat was slit. And he was like, oh, I'm out of here. Like,
Yeah, he's like. And then the theater teacher. This scene is actually really great. Eddie, what do you think about the theater teacher scene when Nev Campbell and her theater teacher are sitting in the audience and stuff, and then we get the little rehearsal?
Yeah, I thought it was the motivation for Nev to like stand up and face it. I thought it was funny that he says like you can actually face it or something. Like he's talking about fate, and he was like you can face it and fight it. And then like a little bit later, they're in the car scene, and they like keep doing this where she's looking directly at the mask, and she like wants to take it off, but then doesn't. So she's like literally facing it, again. So I thought that was kind of cool to see that. And then again, it's like I don't know if they're trying to throw this thing where they're trying to make Derek the killer again, where he just like kind of pops up behind stage and then is like talking again. But I wasn't really falling for the Derek propaganda. I never really thought it was him.
Jodi.
I don't know that I've ever really thought about the scene. It seems more like serious in tone compared to the rest of the movie, and I'm not familiar with the Cassandra because that's like, is that in Greek mythology? I don't even know. I know that she's a famous character, and I don't think I know enough about the story of Cassandra, who she's playing in the play, to know like what that's tying into. But it seemed profound and just a little, more serious than the rest of the movie.
Becky?
I'm gonna honestly say I never really thought about it. As I'm watching the movie, I thought he just really didn't want to lose his star, so he was saying whatever he needed to say to keep her in the play. What I thought about that whole scene in general that was really funny was all the people with the masks in the background were like other characters in the movie, and I was like, oh, they're all in theater too.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of funny. So I guess I never really saw that scene as like a profound scene.
So the opening scene with Jada Pinkett and Omar Epps, in both theater scenes, this one and the finale, are very specifically placed in there by Wes Craven. It is the 3 stages of Sydney. The awakening to the new problem, seeing it, being shocked on that first stage of being like a literal viewer of it. Then on the second stage, she's becoming more aware of everything around her, having to be more careful and being more watchful. And then the final scene is the actual final confrontation. So Wes Craven actually specifically put all 3 of those scenes in there to reflect more of what Sydney is going through throughout this movie and to kind of reflect it. And that's part of why we get the Cassandra character, because I knew nothing about her really outside of strictly what they talk about in the movie. And they talk about her being a seer and being able to see the bad things happening. And that's exactly what's going on in Scream 2. Sid's like, well, no, I can't do this. I got to start pushing these people away because this is happening. This person's at risk now. Then it's like also dipping into paranoia because it's like, it's the lonely place, like if you can't have anyone around you, you just got yourself. And then like, I don't know, then you're talking to yourself and nobody needs that.
I never knew that. Like, that's the beauty of filmmaking though, right? Like, sometimes there's hidden meanings behind things that we don't necessarily pick up, but it's kind of cool that he like
wanted that. Wanted that, was hoping that it would like highlight a little bit more of like Sydney and who she was and like her character journey. And then we get to the saddest scene in the entire movie, the call, and the most horrific death that I still have not forgiven Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson for.
Same.
The first conversation, though, the opening of it, Dewey being like, wait, when did she start smoking? Oh, when the nude pictures of her released.
It was Jennifer Aniston's body. It was Jennifer Aniston's body.
That was absolutely hilarious. I love any little like callbacks that they put into movies of like other people's like work or like other friends, and that's not even trying to be like mean to Jennifer Aniston. Like that's not like clearly that's not a dig. That's just like haha, those 2 work together. If you know, you know.
Yeah. And they're such close friends. I'm sure she approved.
Yeah, right.
Of the line.
I guarantee you, if Jennifer Aniston wasn't cool with it, that line wouldn't have probably ended up in the movie, right? You know, like
Correct.
this is also the part where we get Joel walking away and like the taxi cab driver who has the neck brace on, which is just like, but we get the ghost face call with Randy. Then Dewey and Gail just assaulting people in the park who happen to have a cell phone on. Like, before we get into the
Gail
horrificness,
Leather, author of Woodsboro Murders.
Yeah.
I like the dude by the stone fence. He's talking to his mom after Dewey and Gail give him his phone back. He's like, "Yeah, mom, I still see them. I don't know what happened." And he like slowly walks back. And I was just like, "Oh my God, this poor dude was talking to his mom the entire time. His mom's just hearing him get like beat up." I'm just trying to almost picture like somebody walking up to somebody else today, smacking their phone out of their hand, and it's just like I don't know. That's how you get killed.
Yeah, it doesn't go over well.
Literally.
This whole scene of like knocking everyone's phones over and acting a little frantic, but then like Randy, like it sucks.
Randy was trying to be the man. He was trying to be all. He's trying to talk his smack, and
he
you know.
was.
He got a little too overconfident. As horrific as it was, it's still one of the better scenes in the movie, in my opinion.
It's definitely one of the better scenes.
Oh, it's so well done. And even at one point, Gail says he's just playing with us.
Yeah.
And so I think even we, Randy, and maybe we as the viewer are like, they're in a public place. Surely he's not going to kill off a legacy character, like one of these core people. So young when it came out, but I know I was shocked. And like, I think there was this false sense of safety that they had, that we as the viewer had, and it wasn't safe at all.
And that's the tough thing, because everybody loved Randy, but basically in the end, it was down to like these two. It was either Dewey or Randy get killed off. In the first movie, they tried to kill off Dewey, but like they couldn't do that. You know, they ended up letting him live. And then in this movie, it was either Randy or Dewey, and in the end, Randy got the short straw. It sucks because, like, I feel like so much like Randy, being the film nerd and everything, he's just so funny. I just always loved Randy. He was one of my favorite characters.
He was put there for us to love him. Yeah.
Yeah, right? I like Dewey, but I was like, you took away my boy. Took away my boy.
And it also, like, because he was the expert and knew the rules, it upped the ante, not only for the characters, but for us, the viewer. There are no rules. They were going to kill off the expert. What do we do now?
I was just going to say, although it does suck, it opens the door, not even just in Scream 2, but in all the future movies, that like anybody's game.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why they ended up choosing Randy, because he was carried over from the first movie like other people. He was a fan favorite, and it was meant to show real stakes. Nobody's truly safe. Anybody can really, get. Then we get
brings us one of the best quotes in the entire film.
Say it.
I'm like constantly quoting this movie, but he's talking about the killers, and he's like, Billy Loomis, what a homo repressed mama's boy. Like, oh, maybe you should have said that, Randy. Like, but I still quote that.
What does he call Stu? A sweat rag or something?
I don't remember what he calls.
He said something, but it's like this continued, and we see it in later movies. People always forget Stu. He's just like a little footnote,
right?
But yeah, the bulk of his, and of course he didn't like Billy because he's in love with Sydney, and Billy had Sydney and he didn't, and so his anger comes out towards Billy. It's easy to talk shit about someone who's dead, but he had a proxy, as it turns out.
Yeah, right. And then we get a couple of other quick scenes. We get the library with the messages. Cotton shows up, freaking out Sydney.
That's a creepy scene.
Cotton is such a weirdo.
He's so. We haven't really talked about Cotton. I thought of it after we finished the last episode. We didn't really talk about Cotton really that much, or if at all. But that scene is very creepy.
Super
think,
weird.
Good actor, and I remember enjoying there being more of a character build on him, because you don't even really see him in the first one, other than that little like newscast.
Yeah,
see him for 30 seconds walking down the stairs and getting put into the cop car. So like
actor too. So it's like you get to finally see him confront Sydney after putting him in jail. But yeah, that whole scene he's a really good actor.
Yeah. Liev Schreiber, love him. He's always given you a great performance in everything he's in. It's like one of those things that is a minor carryover because he had 30 seconds or less of screen time. Yes, he has a huge role in it in the fact that he's implicated as Sydney's mother throughout the entire first movie. And I also like on how he's attention seeking throughout the rest of the franchise. Like he wants his 15 minutes of fame to like try and get his name back, which is fair.
Yeah.
The dude was
Capitalizing on the fact that he was
yeah, he was having an affair with Mrs. Prescott, but he's not a murderer. Like it's bad. You shouldn't do that. But he ain't killing people. He ain't stuffing them in their basement in like his basements. He ain't cooking them in pies like Sweeney Todd or some shit.
But that desperation, like to that point, that desperation reads very apparent to the point that he's gonna corner a traumatized woman, like
yes,
and be very intense. And like,
is it Barbara Walters?
It's Diane Sawyer.
Oh,
Diane Sawyer.
He thinks it's owed to him.
Yeah.
Which even if it is, his memes are very creepy.
It's super weird. When he puts his hand on the wall too, I was like, oh yeah, that's weird.
Get out of here. Where are your bodyguards, Sydney?
Yeah,
right. They're bumbling around looking at computer screens in the library.
Just like as useless as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Always, it's a rule in these movies. Always.
Absolutely. So I do like this in the fact that like Cotton Weary was always kind of like you didn't really get to know him, and then you kind of get him like forced at the beginning of the movie. You get him forced into Sydney's life via Gale Weathers, which is something that you also always knew kind of from the first one because he's talked about a lot more in the first one than he's actually seen in it.
Yeah.
And so like they have their relationship. She's trying to help him. This was great to see him in person, a real character, and this whole scene, like the first time viewing this movie and stuff, I was like, dude snapped in jail. I was like, dude snapped in jail. I mean, he's creepy. He's super forceful and aggressive.
He's big too. Like he's got a menacing presence.
Yeah, he ain't a small dude. Like, he ain't no like 4-foot French fry or something like
and
that.
He
dude's
talks
like
so
6'5".
weird.
Yeah. But that police station scene then, after that library scene, his cockiness of like, well then just arrest me. Like, just do it. Just arrest me. Somebody who is dangerous shouldn't be trusted and should probably, cool off in a cell overnight or something. But they got nothing on him.
Yeah.
They ain't got shit.
But he's also like, whatever, I was in jail before, like, arrest me. Like,
well, his reputation is shit, especially if Sydney won't go on the record and like talk. Yeah, he doesn't. What does he have to lose? Yeah.
Yeah, because like at that point, everyone already thinks you're a murderer. So like stalking, that's like nothing, right? Compared to murder, I guess.
Well, I guess the thing he does have to lose is that Diane Sawyer interview.
And
but she won't do it without Sydney.
Yeah. Exactly. That's clearly the catch. She won't do it without Sydney because nobody cares about like what this attempted or like, implicated murderer like has to say or anything like that. And then when they leave the police station is when Gale and Joel talk. He actually leaves in the taxi then. Gale takes Joel's footage and starts looking through it because her and Dewey are talking about like, I just want to find this fucker. Like, so do I, Dewey. And so like this is where like the Gale Dewey team up kind of happens. And the funniest thing to me again is how prevalent VHS tapes are shown throughout these first two movies. Because it's like, I don't know how many people even know what a VHS tape is anymore. Like, right? Because they're just like, I mean, we got DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks, everybody streams and stuff, whatever. But then we also get the classroom scene, and literally since the first time I've seen this, the funniest part of this classroom scene of them watching the footage, and I mean, I saw it young, so it's always stayed with me. I'm in a constant state of Arrested Development, is fucking Dewey having his hand on Courtney Cox's breast there. It's always been the funniest thing in the world. And because then she's just like, Dewey! And like smacks his hand away. I know I'm in a constant state of Arrested Development. To this day, I watched it last night and I was just like, I still giggle.
Oh, it's
I'm the
supposed to
worst.
be funny. He is
It is
kind of
supposed
in
to
a
be funny.
state of arrested development. Like they even joke about that in Scary Movie also, you know, like
Right?
he's trying to be this presence. Like he's probably only a couple years older than Sydney and Tatum in the first movie. They don't really say how old he is, I don't think. But he's not. Oh, yeah, he does. He's 26.
Or is he 25? Because
I
her
thought he said I was
demographic,
25 for a whole year, or was it 24?
I don't know, because you're right. It's the demographic thing. So I don't know. Maybe
Okay,
it
so
is.
he is mid-20s, so he is
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit older than them, but he's not much of a commanding presence, but he
No.
tries to be, but he
Well,
is
that's
kind
why
of
he also
silly.
talks about like when Gail, I think it's in the first one, she's like, "Oh, does the force like make you work out?" And he's like, "No, with my boyish, charmish good looks, muscle mass has increased my acceptance as like a real officer." I fucking love David Arquette. He's
He's great.
wild. But now everything inside this school, from the classroom to the recording studio, the messing with the footage. Now, when you see the footage from inside the van and like the killer, the ghost face footage, you know, the ghost cam, if you will, did you ever get a hint at who you thought one or both killers were at this point?
I think at the time I was too young to like put those
Context clues together and stuff? Yeah.
because it makes sense.
Yeah. I agree. Like how much of it is me with hindsight being like, yeah, totally I knew, but I was like 9 or 10.
Right.
So like I don't think I knew, but
I definitely didn't, but in the most recent rewatches, I really did see how clear one of them were.
yes.
If you're paying attention, it's very clear that there's one of them, because you see this person with a camera 2 times beforehand, and that's the only clue I'll give until we actually get to the reveal, because I like to try and be secretive as much as I can. And go along with all of this stuff. But Jodi knows what I'm talking about. I think you know exactly who I'm talking
I
about
don't
here,
know.
Jodi.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know if I know what the other clue is.
I mean, well, it's seeing this person hold a video camera twice,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then where this footage is and like how it is. I was just like,
Oh yeah.
like if you look at it in the full picture, it's like, oh, those are some neat hints at like who a real killer is, as opposed to the red herrings and stuff.
Yeah.
But the chase through the recording studio,
Terrifying.
I love this. And
So
like
good.
through the sound barrier, or like whatever, the sound protectors and stuff, like those walls of like diving in and out. Great. Eddie, what do you got about the classroom, recording studio?
I really loved the chase cat and mouse through the studio. I thought that was really fun. I always love a good chase too.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was executed well. And then I did really like when Dewey was getting done in. I was ready for it to be the end for him, to be honest. And it really wouldn't have upset me too much.
It
I
was
just thought
the stuff was so good though, so it would have been okay to accept it because it was like soundproof. So
Yeah.
this terrible thing was happening and they couldn't hear each other. She was so helpless. She was just on the other side of the wall and she couldn't do anything to save the person that she like loves.
And how could he possibly survive it for a second time? Right?
Yeah.
Like
right. Exactly.
It's so funny. You're just like, oh, I was ready to be done with him.
yeah.
I like that. I did really like the scene of where it was like silent and they couldn't hear, and like that was great.
Yeah.
But the
It was very
chasing
smart.
Courtney Cox through the studio was great too.
It was.
It's a great pursuing like cat and mouse game and everything.
Cotton just happens to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what was that about? That was weird too.
No, Gail, I found Dewey. Bro, what?
Hey, Cotton.
Did you call the police?
Yeah, right? Which apparently he didn't, because we don't see the police until like it's morning the next day or whatever,
Yeah.
basically. So like Dewey again is just like bleeding out all
Hanging out.
night, like bleeding out all night, being like, help me.
Poor
Oh, man.
Dewey.
I know.
Fucking weary.
Yeah.
Cotton weary.
Yeah, Lori
God.
Metcalf.
Yeah.
Let's talk about her for a few minutes here. Laurie Metcalf. She is insane,
Yeah.
amazing, terrifying.
Come back after Roseanne?
Roseanne, I think, was still on.
No, Roseanne was still on. She had recently just won her Emmy, I believe, for Roseanne. I don't think it was in like 95. I think it might have been a few years prior. She had just really put a name out there for herself, winning the Emmy for Roseanne, and then now doing like Scream or doing Scream 2. And like she also just shows up in all of these times and at all these random times, always annoying Gail.
Yeah.
Like that obsessive fan, kind of thing.
But she's just trying to do her job, just like Gail, you know, in her
Yeah.
little suits and.
Trying
Gail's
to win
so
her little
rude to her.
stories. Yeah, Gail is very. I mean, but Gail's rude to everybody. Not
Yeah.
that it excuses it, but
Nothing
like
of that lady. I was like, oh, like the Roseanne ladies in this movie. Funny.
By the time that she was on the phone and Courtney Cox was like, it's Cotton Weird. By that time, I was like,
What the hell is she doing there?
yeah, I was like, why do they keep showing this woman? I was like,
Yeah.
what?
uh-huh.
And
Good
so that
point.
was maybe one point where I was like, this is weird. Like, who is this woman? Why is she getting so much screen time?
It's funny that you say that because it's specifically at that phone call that Wes Craven and crew were like, we haven't seen her in a little bit. I think we need to show her at this phone call. Then it was like after they did that and released the movie, everybody was like, it was at that moment where we were like, why is she being seen so much?
Yeah.
And he was just like, it was one of those things. Like, I guess we did it too many times, but in pacing wise, it's like we need to see her again somewhere, sometime. And
Yeah.
Place her on the scene. It's like we see Cotton and we're like, oh my God, maybe Cotton is the killer. And then we see this random like reporter there and we think nothing of it. It's the middle of the night and she's like on a college campus, like at a payphone
right.
Yeah.
where a crime was committed.
We get the Derek and Sydney goodbye, and we also get the frat takeover of the theater.
Yeah.
And Derek's trying. He really is. Sydney's a little cold, but she also doesn't trust him. Right?
She can't.
Yeah. She really can't.
Who do you love? Sydney. Did you say you're Kappa Delta Brothers?
No, Sydney. So great. The cop car, or riding in the car with the cops now.
Yeah, great scene.
So terrible. Like I remember how absolutely terrified I was. What, like your heart, like I don't know. I feel like I stopped breathing and my heart was racing out of my chest.
All I got to say is like I don't drive behind trucks, cars, pickups, anything that had round cylinder like objects in them. Because I've seen Final Destination and I've seen Scream 2.
And Thanksgiving now.
Yeah, and Thanksgiving, which also has a great scene like that too. But I've seen too many, and so homie, don't play that. I don't play that anymore. No, I am switching lanes as fast as I can and as safely as I can.
That also epic kill though, because like
he twitches on the windshield,
and the traditional kills are via knife usually. So this like it started to introduce a different way. And honestly, though, I don't know if that was the killer's intention in the moment. But
yeah, probably not pull through the head, but
yeah.
that was awesome. I'm always for like a little, because it was just so shocking. The gore is like that. I think that's fun.
Yeah. That, like the twitch, like to this day gets me like, ooh, God.
The sound effects too.
Yeah, it's a really well made, really well like put together scene and everything like that. I also love that Elise Neal, who plays Hallie, she kept her jacket that she gets stabbed in as like a little memento for the set. So yeah, in one of the documentaries, she holds it up and she's like, see, there's some fake blood still there and still like here and stuff. She's like, I don't wear it. I just keep it as like a nice little fun memento.
And she should.
Yeah, right. It's like Rose McGowan talking about like the different Scream lines that they got throughout production, like starter production, midway through production, and the rap line. She's never opened it or anything like that, and she's just like, I just love having it. It's so neat. I'll never drink it or whatever. Anything else with the car, the cops, the craziness that we see there?
It just was the first time ever where they built tension up to nothing actually happening. Like them having to escape the backseat of the car and climb over the killer. Like,
Oh my God.
who comes up with that? Like, I don't even know what I would have done. I think I would have been like, okay, this is it for me, guys.
Me too. It ends here.
This is where it ends. It was a good run.
We had fun.
Yeah. And you think they're safe, and then Hallie gets it.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
she's
also,
the one who's like, no, we gotta get the fuck out of here. And Sydney's like,
but
I need
it's another like moment. Like Sydney's so great, and obviously like she's my favorite final girl ever. But she still makes some dumb move, and like you're yelling at the screen. You're like, what are you like?
yeah. And neither of us thought to pick up the gun. Like,
Yeah,
Oh my
that's
God,
the
there's
big.
there's so many things that they could have done differently. But
yeah.
That's
So
fair.
good.
Gosh, the gun comment is like kind of like to me right now. Like that's something that I didn't think about, because it's not even like really in that cop's hand. You see it, like his hand twitches even over it, and it's just like on his like palm, basically. It's under his palm or whatever. So it's like easily
And that guy
grabbable.
in the final scene.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's insane.
And she learns in the first movie that they always come back. So like, why are they just leaving this body? Like, you get that gun, you do a double tap, and then
You
it
see
wouldn't end credits because we know
Right.
that there's
And
someone else working. But
yeah, so she goes back. I have to know. Do you?
Yeah, do you?
Get out of there.
you lost your opportunity, girl.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
could have done it in the
right?
car, and instead you honked the horn.
But also,
So
you know very well
Oh my
you're gonna find
gosh.
out who it is in about 30 minutes. If it's a repeat of your life from your first story, you're gonna eventually find out who it is. Just keep
yeah,
going.
The honking of the horn while like trying to get out of that, like still to this day is like one of those things like, oh my
So funny how they incorporate horror and comedy at the same time.
God. Mm-hmm.
imagine being.
Like in the car, she's like, "Ooh, is he dead?" And it's like,
Yeah.
so
yeah.
Imagine being Hallie and having to be the second one to get out of the car too. 'Cause you see Sydney, right? And Sydney's like in the clear now, and then Hallie's like, "Well, fuck! Like if I can't get through, I'm done." And Sydney's gonna be fine. Like that sucks.
Right.
great scene.
So then we get what I called in the notes the theater throwdown showdown. And then, I mean, this is the final act of the movie. This is where everything comes together. Sydney's huffing and puffing, like getting back to the theater, calling for theater director and everything. Then Ghostface starts doing his stuff, trapping her on set, closing down like whole walls and doors and everything like that. Then we get Ghostface appearing. And who is our Ghostface reveal?
Mickey, the freaky Tarantino film student.
Yeah.
I am
They do
so
fake
happy
you out with Derek, though. They do fake you out with. They do a couple fake outs, and Derek's
Yeah.
the first one.
right?
Yeah. That entire reveal is so amazing because I remember being a child and seeing it, and at first I was like, wait, but he's not even that big of a character. But the way that he reveals himself and how creepy he is, like and you're like, it kind of makes a lot of sense. He was creepy throughout the entire movie.
He was
Yeah.
creepy throughout the whole thing, and I will say, first time I don't think I got it, but this time, like the way that he was dropping the set and working all the lights and stuff, I was like, that's a film. I was like, that's a film guy, and the only other relevant one in some form is Mickey. So that like that's why the second time I was like, they kind of tried to show you, even though it was like very subtle.
Mickey is the only one other than Joel who has a camera. But Mickey also has a handheld camera every time you see him with the camera. And that's why when the footage is revealed in the school with Gail and Dewey there, that's like, if you're looking at it closely enough, that should be like your major tip off that like Mickey is involved. Or Randy.
Mickey did not kill Randy, though. The other killer killed Randy.
Right.
So the other killer also filming. Just throwing that out there.
No. Absolutely right. But there is a mask that's left there, and we see the one killer leave a mask. So the real question is, were they both in there too? Because you don't know. In that van to kill Randy. One talking, one to stab then? I mean, because then later on here, it is totally at least like I'm crazy in that because like, you know, Debbie Salt, who we eventually learn is also working with Mickey, who is also AKA Mrs. Loomis.
Billy's mother.
Billy's mother. Didn't see it coming, did ya?
It's just
One
so
of
funny.
so creepy.
At first when she walked out, I was like, wait, the fucking random reporter lady? But then Sydney's like, Mrs. Loomis? And I was
Well,
like,
they do another fake out with Gail. Like Gail
Yeah.
comes out.
Yeah.
It's not a very long fake
Yeah.
out, but
Yeah.
you know.
Well, because then even Sid's like, Gail, and like if you notice, Gail does a
like-
slight like
Yeah.
slight like shake of her head, no. And then yeah, Mrs. Loomis comes out and
Did
we
you
also-
imagine Gail's surprise? Like, why the fuck is this reporter lady like trying to kill me?
Yeah.
But Sydney's reaction, where it's like, Mrs. Loomis, you're like, because you don't meet her in the first one, she's only talked about.
right?
Mhm.
You don't even see a picture. And to be fair, to even change it more so, like, you know, Sydney's like, well, this is 60 pounds lighter and like a lot of work later. But it's still like you, Mrs. Loomis, and
we only see Gail talking to her. Like Dewey doesn't see her. Like no one who would know who she is. Like we only see her interact with Gail.
right.
So just
And that's literally part of like Wes Craven even says it. It was very important for Debbie Salt and Sydney to never cross paths until this moment. And they don't. They might be like near each other in vicinity wise, but it's not like clear shots. It's not like when Sid notices Dewey hanging out on like campus looking around looking for Sid. Like they don't have things like that at all as a reaction or like interactions at all. And it was important because Sydney would be the telltale sign of being like, wait a second.
What's Mrs.
This
Loomis?
this is
Yeah.
funny.
Mhm.
This don't look right. Kind of thing. I love Mickey's explanation of like everything is about the trial now, like very clearly heavily influenced from like OJ Simpson trial and stuff at the time and like whatnot like that. But Timothy Oliphant giving it his all. One of the single craziest serial killers in a movie ever. And Laurie Metcalf, unreal. She's so good and annoying and was like kind of sweet and like, because she even gives other reporters something. Well, doesn't it seem kind of weird that like, you know, well, if somebody's trying to repeat Woodsboro, I would expect them to be from Woodsboro. And then if you notice, there's one porter lady who's like, and like kind of runs off or whatever after that. Like we see her throughout the whole movie. Everybody interacts with her but Sid. And
I
Mickey's
also love Mickey's motive. I think is believable.
Movies made him do
especially
it?
nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, it was ahead of its time, in my opinion.
I don't know. Well, so here's the same thing. Movies made me do it, comics made me do it, TV made me do it, video games made me do it. I would lean heavier into the first at the end of Scream 1 that it might make them more creative in some ways.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that it would create them.
No, there's that.
No.
You're definitely a sociopath before this even
Yeah.
happened.
Well, yeah, and she even
Yeah.
says she meets him on like
Yeah, like a killer chat room.
Yeah, a
he
serial
needed
killer
some
chat.
nurturing that only a mother could give.
Yeah.
But it also, I think, mirrors the reveal in the first one where Stu kind of has this very surface level motive, but Billy's is obviously a lot more emotionally
Yep.
driven, and he's a sociopath, of course. And then same here, like Mickey is like, yeah, I'm gonna get famous. I want to get caught, like all this. And then Debbie Salt's like, you killed my baby, you know? So it's another interesting juxtaposition.
Right? Debbie Salt, she just wants some good old fashioned revenge.
Yes, she
Pretty
does.
sane. Pretty rational if you ask her.
Yeah.
She is so crazy. And Laurie Metcalf just like kills it though. And then we get Sydney and Mrs. Loomis fighting, cutting down like bags and stuff. Like it's honestly almost like a final fight of like an action movie. It almost takes this weird like kind of actiony thing. It's still kind of scary and there's still stakes and stuff. I mean, fuck, Gail gets shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Gail
does.
gets shot. Mickey gets shot. Like Mrs. Loomis shoots Mickey, which is crazy. One of my favorite shots that I really liked and that everybody in the production, like Wes Craven, really liked. So when Debbie Salt is looking, her eye is looking through the gunshot, the hole in like the door or whatever. It also reminds me of the shot from Shaun of the Dead when the worker Mary falls on the pole and then you see the opening in the pole through her and stuff. She's so drunk. I love Shaun of the Dead. So the fight between Mrs. Loomis and Sydney. Anybody else have anything on this that is crazy, that you love, that you hated? Jodi?
It seemed maybe more well matched than her versus the two guys in the first one. But yeah, it does take on like an action movie. There's like some hand to hand kind of fighting and using of the props and the scenery. She didn't feel as much in danger maybe as she did in the first one. I don't know if that's just, I'm thinking about that now, but that's all with hindsight.
It's also like it changed Sydney, right? Even though she's very obviously still scared, she's, you know, you could tell that she has kind of set herself up to protect herself, and she's not. She's a fucking fighter.
She's not going quietly.
I missed another great quote. Jodi, it's one of your favorite quotes in the movie when Mickey's talking about Bill.
Yes. And she said, "You're forgetting one thing about Billy Loomis." Oh yeah, what's that? I fucking killed him. And then she hits him with Derek's letters.
Yeah.
She has some of the best final girl quotes.
She has some great quote. You're right. She really, in the final scenes, every movie, I think she's got a pretty solid something to say.
The fourth movie has one of my favorite lines, and we'll talk about it when we get to that fourth one. It is actually the final line of that movie, and it's actually the line that made me be like, oh no, this movie's great, and they really do know what they're doing here. One more thing that I have here. The final closing credit song was supposed to be Bittersweet Symphony by the Verve, but they could not get the rights because the Verve for Bittersweet Symphony samples the Rolling Stones, and licensing that song would have been too expensive.
Hey.
Yeah.
That song just reminds me of Cruel Intentions. Though,
Yeah,
so
that's
glad they didn't.
That's what I thought the Cruel Intentions had the budget for it, I guess, and it's perfect for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, right? So I guess as we're wrapping up here, do you guys have a favorite character or a favorite kill in the movie? I know we kind of talked about it all already.
Favorite character will always be Randy, but if I had to pick like a new character, Mickey, hands down. I still refer to Timothy Olyphant as Mickey. I don't refer to him as his real name. I call him Mickey.
He's Mickey.
I see him in another TV show.
He's Mickey in this house. Yeah. Same.
He's
one of my favorite killers too in the whole franchise. He's just so like wacky. Like he just is actually one of the ones that comes across like he's actually crazy and he believes what he's saying.
Boyfriend killer.
Yeah, boyfriend killer. Boyfriend
It's
killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't have this big emotional motive. Like, not saying that those are right. He just like was down. He was down to terrorize some people and get famous for it. Be the star of his own movie. I agree with Becky. I think he's a great character.
Eddie?
So hands down in the first one, my favorite was definitely Stu. And then in this one, I think it was honestly just Sydney, even though that's kind of like a little bit more of a basic answer. I enjoyed Sydney this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She seemed a little more, she made some mistakes, but she seemed a little more logical and a little more badass.
Yeah.
Which was kind of fun. I also, kind of a side note, Hallie, the character that like plays her in Scary Movie, I like that character is just so funny. Just so good.
She's brilliant. I mean, yeah, Mickey is like this was just like a shot of adrenaline. Seeing Timothy Olyphant in this, like, you know, this is for me like the first time I ever saw him in anything. So this was my calling card for him. He's great. But you know what? If I'm being honest, sign me up for anything Jerry O'Connell's in. I like Jerry O'Connell. Stand By Me, I'm a big fan of. I like him in this. I love Jerry O'Connell as like the drunk, like he's in Can't Hardly Wait as like the drunken college guy who comes back and like
That's 16.
So you know what? Like, just sign me up for Jerry O'Connell. Like Jerry O'Connell, I love seeing him show up. Nev Campbell though, like this is her franchise. Like, without a doubt, she is always the best. Courtney Cox has always surprised me because I always knew her from Friends first, and then seeing her just be this like completely different kind of, because she's an actress and she can act, so she's got characters in her, obviously. But like, it's always shocking when you see somebody and you're just impressed by them. You know, you're just impressed by what they can do, and you didn't think whether you thought they were the best, the worst, whatever.
She was
So
great in this one too. She was great in the first one, but she was great in this one too.
It's a great character and she plays it so well. I can't imagine anyone else in that role.
Oh no, she is Gale.
Right.
Yeah.
Still is. We'll see in
Uh,
January.
Yeah.
She's still Gale.
So for me, originally when I watched Scream 2, I always kind of thought it was a letdown compared to the first Scream. And like, I mean, some people can say it's apples to oranges, whatever. I just don't. I think I honestly was always very bitter about Randy being killed, if I'm being honest. And I think I really always held that against it. But then in like 2022, Colin and I saw this in theaters for the 25th anniversary of it, and it totally changed my mind on it 3 years ago. Like I now love it. It's still Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 3 if we're like putting them in an order. But like I really like this movie a lot more now. Before I move on to you guys, Colin, what do you have to say about Scream 2?
Hey everybody, Colin here to give my 2 cents on Scream 2. I personally think the first 3 Scream movies are the most solid slasher trilogy there is. By the time the second and third Scream movies had come out, unfortunately, the Scary Movie franchise had knocked the wind out of the sails a bit of the Scream franchise. So I'm here to give Scream 2 its fair shake. Between the opening sequence at the theater and the plot actually following up and addressing the trauma that they faced in the first movie while treading a path forward, I love the meta nature of these films, as the slasher flick at the time was losing some steam. It was fun to be calling out the tropes, being an interesting mystery, while also invoking the nature of turning murderers into media sensation, which often become replicated by copycats. I think horror movies are a great way to look into an era, and Scream perfectly encapsulates an era. It really captures that feeling we all had when school shootings and high school killers became realer than ever. And Scream 2 does that thing where it kills someone during the daytime, right? So you're never safe. It's always going to come for you, no matter what time of day, no matter who you are either. So Wes Craven was certainly tapped into the zeitgeist with this concept, one of the great sequels for a horror movie franchise, and I will stand up for it, along with Timothy Olyphant as Mickey being one of the greatest movie killers there is. Thanks for having me on Sibling Scream. Can't wait to hear your thoughts, and have a good one.
Hey, Colin, thank you for your little tidbit there about Scream 2. Eddie, Scream 2. Do you love this movie, hate this movie? Where does it stand in like the realm of sequels for you, whether it be horror or sequels in general, like legacies of sequels?
I enjoyed Scream 2. It does not hold anything to the first one, I think. Although, and I don't, that's not a knock on Scream 2. I thought Scream 2 was still good. But the first one was just so like amazing. The second, like the thing about the second one, again, this isn't a knock on the second one. I thought it wasn't as funny as the first. Little less one-liners. I thought it wasn't as scary as the first. I did like some of the kills though, but like that final scene, like you were kind of saying earlier, it like Sydney seemed like she had more control over it. In that first one, I was like, how it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In this one, it seemed like, no, there's a chance. And maybe that's because I saw the first movie and you already know kind of the idea and stuff. But I do really like it. I think it's a good sequel. I don't know if it's my second favorite Scream film. I think I might like 4. I think I might like 4 a little more. I like 4. I know.
I do too.
I do too. It's a fun
Yeah,
one.
so it might be 4 for me, but I think it would be in the top 3. I honestly have only seen the ones in like the 2020 ones, the newest ones. I've only seen those once, so I'll have to rewatch those because I did like those. I was pleasantly surprised by those when I saw them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought it was a great sequel.
Jodi, legacy of sequels. What did this movie mean to you?
I love it. I love the first one so much. The second one just seemed like a continuation of like seeing characters that I really like and like having fun. I was so young when I saw it. I think I was just really excited to see more of the characters that I like, but it didn't come to play. Like I think it's acknowledging in the film class scene how hard it is to surpass the original. And maybe that was maybe they were trying to do that, maybe they weren't. I don't know, but nothing will touch the first one, but I definitely think it is a very worthy follow-up.
Becky.
I love this movie. It again, I share the same sentiment. It doesn't even hold a candle to the first one. Obviously, most sequels do not, but I think it's still timeless. I still absolutely love it to this day. Because there's even movies that I'll watch that I love, but I'll be like, oh, there's a lot, some of this is problematic. I think with Scream 2, I don't feel that way. It also introduced me probably to the very first like shock value of a kill, like losing one of our most beloved characters, where that I was not expecting at all. And also, it's like the first time like I was introduced to like actually being shocked about who the killer was. Like the mom, I think. Not necessarily Mickey, but the mom. And I know the mom is the killer in Friday the 13th, but like, I don't know. I think this was just done in a very different way. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's so good. Like I said, I always had problems with this before, but I have really come like turned a new leaf for it. But obviously the movie talks about some of the best sequels, Aliens, T2, Empire Strikes Back, Godfather Part 2. But they also, I feel like now it also matters about time. Like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, that's technically the third one, but it's still a sequel, and it's technically continuing the story from Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I consider that more so a sequel than Temple of Doom, which is like a prequel. Great sequel. I really love it. I don't know if it necessarily raises the bar against like Raiders because that's like an all-timer, but Last Crusade, great stuff. Bride of Frankenstein, though, 1938. It is ranked.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
It is ranked higher than the original Bela Lugosi Frankenstein, and like we're talking apples to oranges here. Frankenstein has got like a 94% or like an A rating on most stuff. Bride of Frankenstein is at like a 98% and like might be an A plus. So we're kind of splitting hairs there, but in theory, it's a sequel that is, in all intents and purposes, being rated and thought of being better than the original. Then you also got like a few dollars more, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly from like the 60s, those westerns. And then the only other one I could really think of is Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. Now, it's not really a sequel with like carryover characters, but it is a world sequel in the sense that like all of those movies are happening in the same world with Romero. I don't know. Did anybody have anything else?
If we're talking
like
horror,
nominated films, and I'm like D2 Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, no, most of mine are like kids movies or movies I saw as a kid.
No, but that's like, but that's okay. Like if they matter to you and if you like them, like that's great. Like, that's kind of like the point of like the question. Like, do you love them? Do you hate them? Do you just tolerate them?
I don't even watch Mighty Ducks anymore. I go straight to D2 Mighty Ducks because it is superior to the first and the third. Okay, I'm done.
I'm just a very nostalgic. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
In terms of horror movie sequels, I think it's definitely up there. Because I mean, there's a lot of really good sequels if you're like expanding genres and stuff. But I think in terms of horror movie sequels, it's got to be up there. You have Aliens, which might be the best. Or one of the best.
That's more action though.
No, it definitely is. Yeah, it's like a different kind of vibe. I'm trying to think like I grew up on Conjuring. That was like kind of the big horror franchise. Like Conjuring 2, I think is pretty good. But I think it stands up well for horror sequels.
I think with horror sequels, I don't know. I don't remember what number it is, but the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Matthew McConaughey. And that's the third one. That's the one that kind of fucked me up as a kid. So I'll probably add that to the top of list of sequels for horror. But no, I'm super biased. Scream 2. That's where it's at.
I think Scream 2 is the best also because I just love it. But I think the second Friday the 13th is really important because that's when we first meet Jason, like the actual killer that we know of from that franchise. Which Casey tells us in the first Scream, or the killer tells us in the first Scream that Jason was not the killer till the second movie. But that's the only other one I can really think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about Scream 2. We've talked about some legacy of sequels, some of our favorite characters, and some of our favorite kills in this movie. Does anybody else have any closing comments, thoughts, or concerns about Scream 2 before we go ahead and wrap this up?
Cotton finally gets his interview with Diane Sawyer.
You gotta pay him. It's a price.
He saved
He saved the day, and he played into this. Well, I guess Mickey might have already been dead, but we don't know how long Cotton was there or what he heard, but kind of playing into this idea of the other killers wanting like notoriety or whatever. But anyway, no, overall, love the movie. As long as they make these movies, I will gladly go and watch them opening weekend. So.
Yes. Same. The Scream franchise is one of the most important like horror franchises to me. We more or less grew up on it. It's so great. I love slashers. Yeah, I think we've covered it all. Now we will be back next month for Scream 3. And we're very excited for that. Go if you haven't watched Scream 1, go watch Scream 1, Sibling Scream 1996. It's up there, up on our YouTube channel. Go check out all of our social media. I want to thank you all for joining us. Eddie, Jodi, Becky, I want to thank you guys all for joining us. Eddie, say goodbye.
See you, everyone.
Jodi.
See you next time.
Becky.
I'll be right back.
And I am JimmE. Please like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. We hope you all stay safe. And show's over. Whoa.
Nice.